There is a profound shift occurring in the atmosphere of your life right now that your physical eyes cannot yet see, but your spirit has already begun to acknowledge. You are here listening to these words not by accident nor by chance, but by a divine appointment with your own higher consciousness. You have felt it in the quiet moments of your day and in the deep silence of the night. It is a sensation that is difficult to describe to others but undeniable to your own soul. It feels like a pressure or a tension in the air, as if the very fabric of your reality is being stretched to accommodate something massive that is trying to be born. You may have mistaken this feeling for anxiety or restlessness or even fear. You may have looked at your current circumstances and seen only stagnation and silence. You have prayed and you have waited, and you have engaged in the act of assumption, night after night, only to wake up to a world that appears unchanged. You have wondered if the divine has heard you or if your imagination has failed you. But I am here to tell you with absolute certainty that what you are feeling is not stagnation. It is the heavy and holy weight of transition. We often make the mistake of judging the activity of God by the evidence of our senses. We look for movement in the physical world, and when we see none, we assume that nothing is happening. But in the deep philosophy of the spirit and the laws of the mind, the greatest movements always happen in the invisible, before they ever manifest in the visible. Think of the way a massive structure is built. Before a single brick is laid and before the ground is ever broken, there is a shift in the mind of the architect. There is a realignment of resources and a gathering of materials that happens behind the fences where the public cannot see. You are currently in that construction phase, where the divine intelligence within you is realigning every aspect of your life to match the vision you have held in your heart. The shift is not coming. The shift is already here. It is happening in the atmosphere of your consciousness. The chains that have held you back are dissolving, not because you are fighting them, but because you have outgrown them. The doors that seemed permanently locked are unlocking silently in the unseen realm, because your frequency has risen to a level where the old barriers can no longer exist. Everything that has been holding you back is about to break, because the pressure you feel is not the pressure of a crushing weight, but the pressure of expansion. It is the same pressure a seed feels when it is buried in the dark earth. To the seed, the darkness looks like a grave, and the weight of the soil feels like a burden that will never be lifted. But that pressure is the very thing that triggers the life force within it to crack open the shell and push upward toward a light it has never seen. You are in that moment of cracking open. You have been in a season of testing and a season of waiting where it seemed like your prayers were echoing into a void. But the silence of God is not the absence of God. The silence is the sound of deep work. It is the sound of the universe rearranging the pieces of the puzzle behind the curtain of time. What you lost in the past seasons was not taken from you as a punishment. It was removed to create space for what is about to enter. What was delayed was not denied. It was held back until your character was strong enough to sustain the weight of the glory that is coming. You must listen closely now, because we are going to dissect the nature of this invisible movement. There are moments in life when you can sense that things simply cannot stay the same. You feel a divine dissatisfaction with the status quo. The things that used to satisfy you no longer bring you joy. The conversations that used to interest you now feel shallow and empty. The places where you used to find comfort now feel small and confining. This is not depression, and this is not confusion. This is your spirit signaling to you that you have graduated from the level of life you are currently living. The atmosphere has shifted because you have shifted. The person you were yesterday can no longer inhabit the future that is opening up for you today. This is why you feel the weight of transition pressing upon your spirit. It is the friction between your old self and your new self. The old man is dying and the new man is struggling to breathe his first breath. This process can feel chaotic and it can feel lonely, but it is the most sacred process a human being can endure. The enemy of your soul, which is often just the voice of your own doubt and the echo of your past limitations, has been whispering in your ear. It tells you that nothing is changing. It points to the bank account that is still empty, or the relationship that is still broken, or the body that is still in pain, and it says, look at the evidence. It tells you that you will remain stuck in this season forever. But I came to expose that lie today. Your season is shifting right now. Your breakthrough is closer than your logical mind can comprehend. What seemed impossible is about to become your reality because God has a way of shifting things. Suddenly, the transition from the prison to the palace happens in the blink of an eye, but the preparation for that transition takes a lifetime. You have been in the preparation, and you are now standing on the precipice of the presentation. When the timing of your inner conviction collides with the readiness of the outer world, everything changes in an instant. You have been waiting, but now it is time for manifestation. The process may have been painful, and there may have been nights where you cried tears that no one saw. Those tears were not wasted. They were watering the soil of your future. The years that you feel were stolen from you are about to be restored. This is a fundamental law of the universe that energy is never lost, it is only transferred. The energy of your struggle is being transmuted into the energy of your victory. You cannot afford to lose hope now. You cannot afford to look at the delay and call it a denial. The shift is already in motion, like a massive ship turning in the deep ocean. You may not see the turn immediately from the surface, but the momentum has already changed direction. Every challenge you faced was preparing you for what is coming. Every door that closed in your face was leading you to the right one. Every person who walked away from you was simply leaving the stage because their part in your script was over. It was all part of a divine orchestration. You must understand that the atmosphere around you is not just empty air. It is a living, thinking substance that responds to the dominant feeling of your heart. When you began to change your assumptions and when you began to imagine a life greater than what your senses dictated, you began to alter the composition of this atmosphere. You sent out a signal that demanded a new reality, and now the universe is responding to that signal. The reason you feel the turbulence is because the new reality is displacing the old one. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Your new life is pushing your old life out of the way. This is why things seem to be breaking down. This is why there is disruption and confusion. It is not a sign that things are going wrong. It is the surest sign that things are going right. The renovation of a house always looks like a disaster zone before it looks like a masterpiece. The walls are torn down and the dust is in the air and the noise is deafening. If you judged the renovation by the middle of the process, you would think the house was being destroyed. But the architect knows that the destruction is necessary for the expansion. God is moving behind the scenes, arranging everything according to a perfect will that sees the end from the beginning. The weight you have been carrying is about to be lifted, not because the burden disappears, but because your strength is being multiplied. The prayers you have prayed are about to be answered in ways that look different than you expected, but are exactly what you needed. When this shift fully manifests, it does not do half measures. It completes the work. When you are brought out of this wilderness, you are brought out with power. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. You are coming out better and stronger and wiser and more anointed than before. The trials were the fire that refined you like gold. You had to go through the heat to lose the impurities that would have tarnished your value. Now you are pure gold, ready to be displayed. This is why you must be ready. The most tragic thing is not to wait for the blessing, but to be unprepared when it finally arrives. When the shift happens, it moves fast. You must be positioned mentally and spiritually to receive it. You cannot afford to stay in the mindset of your past. You cannot hold on to the identity of the victim or the identity of the one who waits. You must now adopt the identity of the one who has received. You must walk through the open door boldly. The enemy wants to keep you bound to the past by reminding you of your failures and your disappointments. But God is calling you forward into a future that has no record of those failures. There is a fresh wind blowing and a fresh anointing being poured out. You must step into it with faith, knowing that what is ahead is infinitely greater than what is behind. The connections you need are being aligned. The resources you have been waiting for are being gathered. The opportunities that seemed out of reach are being lowered down to your level. Everything is falling into place. Heaven has already released it in the realm of the Spirit. Now you must walk in obedience to your own vision. Now you must believe that the God within you is who He says He is. He is the God who makes a way where there is no physical way. He is the God who speaks to the darkness and creates light. He is the power that turns mourning into dancing and sorrow into joy. Do not let the fear of the unknown hold you back. Do not let the doubt of the delay rob you of what is yours. You have been in the waiting room long enough. The door is opening and your name is being called. The shift involves a realignment of your perception. You stop looking at the world as a solid, unchangeable object, and you start seeing it for what it truly is, which is a fluid response to your own consciousness. The reason your life is changing right now is because you have finally stopped accepting the shadows as reality. You have awakened to the fact that you are the light that casts the shadow. This awakening is the invisible movement. It is the realization that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the creator of circumstance. This realization shakes the foundation of your old life. It makes you uncomfortable because it demands responsibility. It demands that you stop blaming the outside world and start mastering the inner world. This is the divine realignment. It places you exactly where you were meant to be, which is on the throne of your own mind. God is never late. The timing of this shift is precise. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, the unseen mechanism of the universe is clicking into place with mathematical precision. Every delay has been for a purpose. Every setback was setting you up for a comeback that will astonish those who watched you fall. The narrative that you are stuck is a false narrative. The story that you have missed your chance is a fiction. The truth is that you are right on schedule. The shift that is coming is not based on your human strength or your ability to force doors open. It is based on the faithfulness of the law. What you have planted must be harvested. What you have assumed must be objectified. No obstacle and no circumstance and no person can stop what has been ordained for you by your own imagination. You may have felt overlooked and forgotten or left behind while others move forward. But the divine has had its eyes on you the whole time. You were being prepared in the hidden place. You were being molded in the dark room of life. When you are brought into your next season, you will see that every tear and every trial was worth it. You will understand why certain doors had to close to protect you from entering rooms that were too small for your destiny. You will understand why certain relationships had to end to protect you from connections that would have drained your energy. You were being protected from what would have hindered your destiny. Sometimes the silence is the greatest protection. It forces you to stop listening to the noise of the world and start listening to the voice within. The waiting season is not a wasted season. It is the gym of the spirit. It is where your faith muscles are torn and rebuilt stronger. It is where your character is developed so that you do not collapse under the weight of your success. It is in the waiting that you learn to rely on the inner power rather than the outer prop. You learn that your security does not come from your job or your bank account or your partner, but from your connection to the source. This lesson is invaluable. It is the foundation upon which your new life is being built. The enemy wants you to believe that the foundation is taking too long to build. But any builder knows that the higher the building, the deeper the foundation must be. You are being built for heights you cannot yet imagine, so you had to be dug deep. Just as a seed grows beneath the soil before it breaks through the surface, your breakthrough has been growing beneath the surface of your life for a long time. You could not see it and you could not touch it, but the roots were going down deep. They were finding water in the depths, and now that the roots are established, the shoot is about to break the surface. When it does, it will grow rapidly. The shift that is coming will not be subtle. It will be undeniable. It will be a visible demonstration of an invisible truth. People around you will see the hand of the divine on your life and they will wonder how you did it. They will see the transformation and know that it was not by your own grit or grinding, but by a power that transcends human effort. The doors that are about to open will be doors that no man can shut because they are opened by the key of your own consciousness. The favor that is about to be released will be beyond anything you have experienced before. But with this shift comes a responsibility. You cannot step into the new season with the mindset of the old season. You must let go of the fear and the doubt and the insecurity that defined your past. You must align your thoughts and your words and your actions with what God is doing. You cannot speak words of defeat while praying for victory. You cannot allow your mind to dwell in the swamp of despair while trying to climb the mountain of success. You must become a match for the shift. You must vibrate at the frequency of the solution, not the frequency of the problem. This invisible movement is the most real thing in your life right now. It is more real than the chair you are sitting on and more real than the device you are listening to. It is the movement of spirit into form. It is the movement of possibility into reality. Embrace the pressure. Embrace the uncertainty. Embrace the darkness of the womb, for you are not dying. You are being born again into a version of yourself that is limitless and powerful and divine. The atmosphere has shifted. The wait is over. The invisible is about to become visible. Now that we have established the invisible shift occurring in the atmosphere around you, we must confront the most difficult illusion you will face on this journey, which is the illusion of delay. We call it the waiting room or the wilderness or the season of silence. It is that agonizing period of time between the moment you plant the seed of your desire in the soil of your imagination and the moment it breaks through the surface of your physical reality to become a tangible fact. For many of you, this is where the battle is lost, not because the desire was denied, but because the silence was misunderstood. You look at your life and you see a stillness that looks suspiciously like stagnation. You check the mail and there is no letter. You check the phone and there is no call. You look at the bank account and the numbers have not changed. The logical mind, which is addicted to the evidence of the senses, begins to panic. It screams that you have failed, or that the Lord does not work for you, or that God has turned a deaf ear to your prayers. But we must dismantle this lie right now, because the silence you are experiencing is not empty. It is pregnant. You must come to understand the law of gestation, which governs every single creation in this universe, from the smallest blade of grass to the grandest empire. Nothing in nature appears instantly in its full maturity. When a farmer plants a seed of corn, he does not walk out to the field the next morning and curse the ground because he sees no harvest. He does not dig up the seed every hour to check if it has roots, because he knows that to disturb the seed is to kill it. He rests in the absolute confidence of the law of nature, which dictates that there is a set interval of time between the planting and the reaping. This interval is not a punishment. It is a biological necessity. Why then do you treat your own dreams with less wisdom than a farmer treats a kernel of corn? Your desire is a spiritual seed. When you assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you planted that seed in the creative womb of the universe, which is your own wonderful human imagination. The moment you did that, the seed began to unfurl. It began to organize the chaos. It began to pull resources and people and circumstances toward itself. But just like the corn, all of this activity is happening underground in the dark, where your physical eyes cannot see it. The illusion of delay is simply your inability to see the subterranean work that is taking place. If you could see the spiritual realm right now, you would see a frenzy of activity. You would see the conversations being had in boardrooms you have never entered that will lead to your promotion. You would see the person you are meant to love making a decision miles away that will eventually lead them to your path. You would see the precise alignment of traffic and timing and coincidence that is being orchestrated to bring you to your appointed destiny. But because a wall of time separates you from these events, you call it nothing. You call it delay. You must stop judging the reality of your desire by the timeline of your ego. The ego wants it now, but the spirit knows that for the desire to be sustained, it must be fully formed. A premature birth in the physical world is a crisis, and a premature manifestation in the spiritual world is often a disaster. The universe is not withholding your good from you. It is protecting your good for you until it is robust enough to survive in the world of shadows. This brings us to the profound truth that silence is not absence. In our modern world, we are terrified of silence. We think that if there is no noise and no movement, then there is no life. But the greatest forces in the universe are silent. Gravity holds the planets in orbit without making a sound. The sun pours out life-giving energy without a whisper. Your own heart beats and pumps blood through your veins in a rhythm you rarely hear. God speaks most loudly in the silence. The waiting season is not a passive state where you sit on your hands and do nothing. It is an active state of spiritual gestation. It is the time when your new identity is being knit together in the secret place. You are not just waiting for the external thing to change. You are becoming the person who can hold the thing. If you were given the millions of dollars you desire today while you still possessed the mindset of poverty, you would lose it all within a year. If you were given the perfect relationship today while you still harbored the insecurities of your past, you would sabotage it within a month. The delay is not a denial of the gift. It is the preparation of the receiver. Consider the archetype of Joseph in the ancient texts. He was given a dream of greatness, of ruling, and of being bowed down to. But immediately after receiving the dream, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and cast into a prison for years. To the outer eye, it looked like his life was moving in the exact opposite direction of his dream. It looked like a cosmic joke, but looking back, we can see that the pit and the slavery and the prison were not detours. They were the path. In the prison, he learned administration. In the prison, he learned to interpret the hidden meanings of the mind. In the prison, he developed the character of a ruler. If he had gone straight from the shepherd's field to the palace, he would have been an arrogant boy who destroyed the kingdom. The delay was the fire that burned away the boy so the king could emerge. You are in your prison season right now. You are in the place of restriction. But you must realize that this restriction is a classroom. You are learning patience. You are learning resilience. You are learning to trust the invisible power within you more than the visible power of the world. You are being refined like gold in the fire, so that when you finally step onto your throne, you will not be shaken. The enemy of your progress, which is the doubt that lingers in the corners of your mind, wants you to mistake the process for the destination. It whispers that because you are struggling now, you will struggle forever. It tells you that the waiting room is actually a cell, but you have the key to unlock this perspective. The key is your faith in the law. You must understand that the interval of time is variable. It expands or contracts based on your reaction to it. When you react to the delay with fear and frustration and desperation, you actually lengthen the time. You are telling the universe that you do not have it, and therefore you continue to not have it. But when you react to the silence with gratitude and with expectation, you shorten the interval. When you can give thanks for the harvest while the field is still bare, you accelerate the process. This is the secret of the masters. They do not wait to see it, to believe it. They believe it, and therefore they see it. They understand that the gestation period is fixed by the intensity of their own conviction. We must also speak of the divine orchestration of loss during this period. Often before the new arrives, the old must be cleared away. This can feel like a disaster. You lose the job. The relationship ends. The friend walks away. You cry out asking why this is happening. When you prayed for abundance, you fail to see that these losses are the answer to your prayer. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins, or the skins will burst. You cannot bring a new level of success into a life that is cluttered with the habits and people of your mediocrity. The universe is clearing the deck. It is making space. The vacuum that is created by the loss is the very space that will be filled by the blessing. Do not mourn what is leaving your life right now. Bless it and let it go. It has served its purpose. It was a scaffolding that held you up while you were being built. But now that the building is complete, the scaffolding must be removed. So the beauty of the structure can be revealed. The emptiness you feel is not a void to be feared. It is a womb waiting to be filled. There is a rhythm to this divine shift that you must learn to respect. It is the rhythm of the tides. When the tide goes out, it looks like the ocean is retreating and leaving the shore dry and barren. But the ocean has not left. It is merely gathering its strength for the return. The drawback is necessary for the surge. You are in the drawback right now. You feel pulled back. You feel like you are losing ground. But you are simply being pulled back into the bow of the archer. The further back you are pulled, and the greater the tension and the strain, the further and faster you will fly when the release comes. Do not resist the tension. Do not fight the pullback. Align yourself with it. Trust that the hand that holds the bow is steady and the aim is true. You are not retreating. You are gathering momentum. The breakthrough that is coming will be so powerful and so sudden that it will make up for all the years of the locust in a single moment. Let us go deeper into the psychology of waiting. The waiting room is where your true allegiance is revealed. Do you trust the source or do you trust the shadows? When everything is going well, it is easy to say you have faith, but faith is not faith until it is tested by the fire of silence. This season is proving to you who you really are. It is forcing you to find a source of stability that is internal rather than external. This is the greatest gift of the gestation period. It detaches you from the need for external validation. You stop looking to the world to tell you who you are, and you start telling the world who you are. You begin to live from the inside out. You realize that your imagination is the only reality and the physical world is just a delayed reflection. Once you truly grasp this, the anxiety of the wait evaporates. You no longer desperately check for signs because you know the inevitable nature of the law. You walk with the swagger of someone who already owns the title deed, even if the house is not yet built. You must also understand that the enemy uses time as a weapon against you. The concept of time is the primary tool of the ego. The ego lives in the past or the future, but never in the now. It regrets what was and fears what will be. But the spirit lives in the eternal now. In the realm of the divine, there is no clock ticking. There is only the finished state. When you pray, you must enter the state of the wish fulfilled in the present tense. You do not hope you will be healed. You give thanks that you are healed. You do not hope you will be wealthy. You give thanks that you are wealthy. The feeling of the wish fulfilled collapses the time between the desire and the manifestation. But when you step out of that prayer and back into the world of Caesar, you face the illusion of linear time again. This is the conflict. The challenge is to maintain the feeling of the eternal now while walking through linear time. The law of gestation is the bridge between these two worlds. It assures you that the spiritual reality is processing itself into physical time. It is the guarantee that the check is in the mail. Think of the bamboo tree. For 5 years, the bamboo farmer waters the ground and sees nothing. Not a single sprout breaks the surface. To an outsider, it looks like an act of insanity. He is watering dirt. He is wasting his life. But the farmer knows the secret. Beneath the soil, the bamboo is building a massive, complex root system that spreads wide and deep. It is preparing a foundation capable of supporting immense weight and height. Then in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up. It grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. Did it grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew 80 feet in 5 years and 6 weeks. The invisible growth was the prerequisite for the visible explosion. You are the bamboo. You have been watering your dream with your affirmations and your visualizations and your faith, and you have seen nothing. The world may be mocking you. Your own doubts may be mocking you. But your root system is being established. You are building the capacity to handle the height of your destiny. Do not stop watering. Do not abandon the field. The 6 weeks of explosive growth are ahead of you. Do not mistake the delay for denial, and do not mistake the silence for absence. The very fact that you have the desire is proof that it is already yours. The desire is not a taunt from a cruel universe. It is a notification of a delivery. You would not desire it if you did not already possess the capacity to manifest it. The desire itself is the seed. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the water and the sun. The time of waiting is the season of growth. Every day that passes brings you closer to the birth. The pressure you feel is the head of the child pressing against the birth canal. It is uncomfortable and it is intense and it demands everything of you, but it is the surest sign that new life is imminent. The chains are not just falling off, they are dissolving. The doors are not just unlocking, they are bursting open. The enemy thought he had you trapped in a cycle of endless waiting. He thought he could wear you down with time. But he did not know that you understand the law of gestation. He did not know that you see in the dark. He did not know that while he was celebrating your stagnation, you were germinating a victory that will swallow up your past. The shift is not coming, it is here. The incubation is over. The shell is cracking. The light is pouring in. You are about to see what you have believed, and you are about to hold what you have imagined. Stand firm in this truth. Let patience have its perfect work, so that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. The illusion is fading. The reality is emerging. Prepare yourself for the harvest. Before we descend into the visceral signs that your body is already giving you signs that confirm this shift is real, I invite you to make a tangible commitment to your own awakening. By engaging with this message, you are telling your subconscious mind that you are ready to receive this higher wisdom. If these words are resonating with your spirit, if you feel the truth of them in your bones, then join this community of believers. Press the subscribe button not just to watch a video, but to seal your intention. Like this transmission, to amplify the signal to others who are searching just like you. Let us now decode the secret language of your body. We have spoken of the invisible work occurring in the atmosphere, and we have spoken of the illusion of delay that tricks the mind into despair. But now we must descend from the realm of the abstract into the realm of the tangible. We must speak of the vessel that houses your spirit. We must speak of the body. There is a profound misconception that spiritual awakening is purely a mental or ethereal process that happens only in the clouds of your thoughts. This is false. The body is the subconscious mind made visible. It is the dense aspect of your soul. It is the instrument through which the divine frequency is translated into physical experience. Therefore, when a shift of this magnitude occurs, it does not bypass the body. It moves through it. The body is the first responder to the new reality. Long before your eyes see the money in the bank, or the partner in your arms, or the healing in your medical report, your nervous system detects the change in frequency. Your body begins to vibrate at the level of the solution while your logical mind is still arguing about the problem. This creates a series of visceral physical signs that many of you are experiencing right now but are misinterpreting as illness or anxiety or random fluctuations. We are going to decode this secret language of the body so you can stop fearing the symptoms and start celebrating the signals. You must understand that you are an energetic being living in an energetic universe. When you engage in the work of imagining and assuming a new state of being, you are literally altering the voltage of your existence. You are raising your frequency. The old structure of your life, which corresponds to a lower frequency, must break down to accommodate this higher power. This breakdown and reconfiguration happens first in the cells and the nerves. The first sign of this divine intrusion is often the experience of unexplained warmth. You may be sitting in a cool room, perhaps reading a book or driving your car or simply resting in silence, when suddenly a wave of heat floods your chest. It spreads outward to your hands and your feet and rises up your neck. This is not the fever of sickness, nor is it the external heat of the sun. It is a distinct internal radiance. It feels like a fire that burns but does not consume. This is the physical manifestation of the burning bush. It is the presence of the I Am moving through your meridians. When you feel this, do not run to the thermostat. Recognize that your spirit is metabolizing a massive download of energy. The desire you have planted has ignited. It is generating the friction necessary to move from the state of inertia to the state of momentum. This warmth is the alchemical fire, turning the lead of your current circumstances into the gold of your future. It is a comforting assurance that you are not alone and that the power within you is active and alive. Closely related to this fire is the phenomenon of the sudden chill, or what some call the truth bump. You know this sensation well? You hear a phrase, or you think a thought, or you listen to a voice like this one, and suddenly a shiver runs down your spine. It is like an electric current that causes the hair on your arms to stand up. This is not a reaction to cold air. This is the body's lie detector. Your conscious mind can be deceived by logic and facts and fear, but your body cannot lie. It resonates with truth. When something vibrates in harmony with your destiny, your body acts like a tuning fork. That shiver is the physical sensation of resonance. It is your soul saying yes to a truth that your mind has not yet fully processed. It is a confirmation from the deep self that you are on the right path. When you are wondering if you should take a certain action or trust a certain person, and you feel that electric shiver, you are receiving a direct answer from the divine intelligence. It is a signal to pay attention, because the veil between the physical and the spiritual has thinned in that moment. Do not brush these sensations off as random muscle spasms. They are the Morse code of the spirit. Then there is the sign that is perhaps the most misunderstood and the most resisted, which is the tears of release. In our culture, we have been conditioned to view tears as a sign of weakness or sadness or breakdown. But there is a specific kind of crying that happens during a divine shift that has nothing to do with sorrow. You may find yourself weeping unexpectedly. You could be washing the dishes, or driving to work, or watching a simple commercial, and suddenly you are overcome with emotion. You feel a pressure in your chest and the tears fall without a specific reason. You try to analyze it and ask yourself, why am I sad? But you cannot find a reason, because you are not sad. You are being cleansed. The vessel is being purged. For years you have carried the weight of old disappointments and old fears and old identities. These energies have been trapped in the tissues of your body. Now that the new energy is entering, the old energy must be displaced. These tears are the breaking of the dam. They are the physical release of psychological resistance. It is the soul exhaling the past so it can inhale the future. If you suppress these tears, you suppress the shift. You must allow them to flow. You must honor them as a sacred ritual of purification. They are watering the dry ground of your heart, preparing it for the new life that is about to spring forth. As we move deeper into the sensory experience, we must address the auditory shift. Many of you have noticed a ringing in your ears. It is often a high-pitched frequency that comes and goes. It is not tinnitus born of damage, but a temporary shift in hearing. In the ancient mystical traditions, this was known as the sound of many waters or the celestial hum. Think of your body as a radio receiver. For a long time you have been tuned to the station of your old life, which played the songs of struggle and lack and limitation. But now, through your prayers and your inner work, you are turning the dial. You are tuning into a higher frequency. The ringing sound is the static of the shift. It is the sound of your spiritual ears adjusting to a higher vibration. You are beginning to hear the broadcast of a new reality. When this happens, do not be annoyed and do not fear it. Stop and listen. Tune into it. Quiet your mind and ask what is being transmitted. It is often in these moments of high-frequency connection that ideas drop into your mind. Ideas for the business. Ideas for the solution. Ideas for the conversation you need to have. The sound is the notification bell that a message is waiting in your inbox. Perhaps the most disruptive of all these signs is the alteration of your sleep cycles. This is the phenomenon of the watch hours. You find yourself waking up abruptly at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. night after night. You are not groggy. You are wide awake. Your mind is clear. You look at the clock and wonder why you cannot sleep. You worry that you will be tired the next day. But you must understand that the hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are spiritually significant. This is when the interference of the collective consciousness is at its lowest. The world is asleep. The noise of millions of people worrying and rushing and fighting has subsided. The atmosphere is quiet. This is the time when the divine can speak to you without competition. You are being woken up for an appointment. Your higher self is calling you to a meeting in the silence. The worst thing you can do in these moments is pick up your phone and scroll through social media. That is an act of spiritual violence against your own soul. Instead, you must stay in the dark. Lay still. Ask the question. Speak to the silence. Say simply, I am here and I am listening. Often it is in these pre-dawn hours that the anxiety of the ego is asleep and the confidence of the God self is awake. You will find that the solutions to your biggest problems arrive in the quiet of these watch hours. You are not an insomniac. You are a watchman on the walls of your own destiny, waiting for the dawn. We must also speak of the physical exhaustion that sometimes hits out of nowhere. There are days when you feel a heaviness that sleep does not cure. You feel as though gravity has doubled. You drag your limbs. You judge yourself as lazy or unmotivated. But this too is a sign of the shift. When a computer is installing a massive new operating system, it slows down. It cannot run other programs at full speed because all its resources are dedicated to the upgrade. Your body is undergoing a biological upgrade. It is rewiring neural pathways. It is changing cellular memory. It is integrating a massive amount of new spiritual data. This takes energy, massive amounts of energy. The lethargy you feel is the body saying, stop. It is demanding rest so it can integrate the change. If you push through with caffeine and willpower, you disrupt the installation. You must honor the cycle of rest. There is a time to run and there is a time to hibernate. When the bear hibernates, it is not dead, it is preparing for the spring. When you feel this deep, bone-weary exhaustion, surrender to it. Trust that work is being done in the deep sleep that you cannot do with your waking mind. You will wake up from this period of rest with a vitality and a clarity that you have never known before. On the other end of the spectrum, there are moments of surge. You experience sudden bursts of energy and clarity where you feel you could conquer the world. Your vision becomes sharp. Your senses are heightened. Colors look brighter and sounds are crisper. You feel a sense of weightlessness, as if the burdens you have carried for years have suddenly evaporated. This is a glimpse of your natural state. This is who you are without the resistance. These moments are showing you the baseline of your new reality. They are previews of coming attractions. When you feel this surge, ride the wave. Take the action. Make the call. Write the plan. The universe is giving you a tailwind. These fluctuations between deep exhaustion and high energy are the recalibration process. It is the pendulum swinging wildly before it settles into a new and higher equilibrium. You may also experience a sensation of pressure in the forehead or the top of the head. This is the activation of the higher centers of perception. The pituitary and pineal glands are the physical correspondents to the spiritual vision. As you begin to see beyond the illusion of your current circumstances, these centers become active. You might feel a throbbing or a tightness. It is the feeling of your third eye opening. You are beginning to see the world not as it is, but as you are. You are developing the sight that sees the invisible. This leads to moments where you feel disoriented or dizzy, as if you are walking between two worlds. And indeed you are. You have one foot in the old dying reality and one foot in the new birthing reality. This vertigo is the sensation of timelines merging. Ground yourself. Breathe. Connect with the earth. Know that you are safe and that you are simply adjusting to a new altitude. Listen closely to the language of your heart. Not the emotional heart, but the physical heart. You may notice palpitations or a fluttering sensation or a change in rhythm when you are perfectly still. If you have checked with a doctor and you are healthy, know that this is the heart chakra expanding. The heart is the magnetic center of the body. It is the engine of attraction. As you shift from fear to love and from lack to abundance, your heart field expands. It begins to broadcast a signal that is thousands of times more powerful than the brain. The fluttering is the recalibration of your magnetic field. You are becoming a magnet for your good. The people and the opportunities that are about to enter your life are being pulled in by this amplified signal of the heart. Even your appetite may change. You may find that foods you used to love no longer taste good to you. You may crave lighter foods or water or silence. You may find that you cannot tolerate loud noises or violent movies or negative conversations. Your body is rejecting anything that lowers your vibration. It is developing a spiritual allergy to toxicity. This is a protective mechanism. As you become more refined, your tolerance for the dense and the heavy decreases. Do not force yourself to endure things that make your body recoil just to be polite. Honor the rejection. Your body is guiding you toward the environments and the fuels that sustain your new frequency. All of these signs, the heat and the chills and the tears and the ringing and the waking and the exhaustion, are evidence of one thing. You are not the person you used to be. The chrysalis is too tight. The butterfly is pushing against the walls. The discomfort you feel is the discomfort of growth. The strangeness you feel is the strangeness of the new. Do not pathologize your awakening. Do not run to the medicine cabinet to numb the symptoms of your ascension. Sit with them, welcome them. Talk to your body and say, I see you and I hear you and I thank you for carrying me through this transition. You are literally embodying the divine. The word made flesh is not just a story from the past, it is the story of your life right now. The spirit is becoming flesh in you. The idea is becoming reality in you. The invisible is becoming visible in you. Trust the intelligence of your vessel. It knows how to give birth to this dream. You do not need to micromanage the process any more than a mother needs to teach her womb how to grow a child. It is automatic. It is natural. It is divine. Your only job is to relax into the shift, to stop resisting the sensations, to flow with the changes, to know that every shiver and every tear is a milestone on the road to your destiny. You are walking in a miracle. You are a living, breathing bridge between the heaven of your imagination and the earth of your experience. The signs are there. The shift is real. The body knows. And soon your eyes will see what your body has already felt. As we move from the internal signals of the body to the external landscape of your life, we arrive at the most challenging and yet the most exhilarating phase of the divine shift. This is the phase of structural collapse and simultaneous reconstruction. It is here that the paradox of faith is tested most severely, because just as your inner world begins to feel the warmth of the new reality, your outer world often begins to look like a disaster zone. You have done the work, and you have held the vision, and you have felt the reality of your wish fulfilled. You expect to walk out your door and see flowers blooming and red carpets rolling out. Instead, you walk out and see the walls crumbling. You see chaos. You see disruption. You see the very fabric of your stability tearing apart. The uninitiated mind looks at this wreckage and screams that something has gone wrong. It panics and retreats, believing that the visualization has failed. But the awakened mind knows the truth. The awakened mind looks at the rubble and smiles because it understands that destruction is the prerequisite for construction. You cannot build a skyscraper on the foundation of a shack. If you have asked for a life of expansion and abundance and influence, the universe must first dismantle the small and confined life that you have been living. The collapse is not a punishment. It is an excavation. This dismantling process is most painfully felt in the area of your relationships. This is a sensitive truth that we must confront with courage. As your frequency rises and as you begin to embody the state of your higher self, you change the gravitational field of your soul. You are no longer vibrating at the level of your history. You are vibrating at the level of your destiny. The people who were anchored to your history, the friends who bonded with you over mutual complaints, the partners who were comfortable with your smallness, the family members who only understood you as the victim, can no longer hold on to you. It is not a matter of morality, and it is not a matter of loyalty. It is a matter of physics. Two tuning forks of different frequencies cannot resonate together. You will find that people begin to drift away from you. Conversations that used to flow easily now feel awkward and forced. You feel a sudden desire to be alone, rather than to be in crowds that drain your energy. You may even experience sudden and inexplicable conflicts where people become hostile toward you for no apparent reason. They are reacting to the light that is intensifying within you. Your growth shines a spotlight on their stagnation, and it makes them uncomfortable. Do not try to hold on to what is falling away. This is the mistake that prolongs the wilderness season. When you cling to a relationship that has expired, you are trying to put new wine into old wineskins, and the result is always that the skins burst and the wine is spilled. You must trust the pruning process. The universe is clearing the stage. It is removing the characters who do not have lines in the next act of your life. It is creating a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. The space that is being created by the departure of the old is the exact space that will be filled by the new tribe. The new partners and the new mentors and the new friends who resonate with who you are becoming are waiting for the seat to be empty. If you keep the seat filled with the ghost of the past, the living future cannot sit down. Bless those who leave. Release them with love. Understand that their part in your script was finished, and embrace the solitude. This solitude is not loneliness. It is a sacred enclosure where you are being intimately introduced to your own power. While the old structure is collapsing, something magical begins to happen in the midst of the rubble. You begin to see the winks of the universe. We call these synchronicities. They are the breadcrumbs of the divine, leading you through the forest of transition. You will start to see repeating numbers like 1111 or 22, 22 or 333 everywhere you look. You will look at the clock at the exact second the numbers align. You will see them on license plates and receipts and phone numbers. The skeptic calls this coincidence, but the mystic knows that coincidence is just God acting anonymously. These numbers are rhythmic markers. They are the universe telling you that you are in alignment. They are like the green lights on a runway, signaling that you are cleared for takeoff. When you see these signs, stop and acknowledge them. Feel the rush of recognition. Say to yourself, I am on the path and I am being guided. The synchronicities will go beyond numbers. You will experience the echo of your thoughts appearing in your reality with startling speed. You will think of a specific book and someone will hand it to you the next day. You will hum a song in your head and turn on the radio to hear the exact chorus playing. You will ask a question in your mind and overhear a stranger on the street answering it in their conversation. These are not random events. This is the law of assumption in action. You are seeing the projection of your own subconscious mind reflecting back to you on the screen of space. The time delay is collapsing. The mirror of the world is being polished so that it reflects your inner state more clearly. These synchronicities are meant to encourage you They are the universe saying, keep going, because the bridge of incidents is forming under your feet. You are not walking blindly. You are walking a path that is lighting up one step at a time. As this external chaos and these mystical signs intensify, you will arrive at a state of being that is the ultimate indicator of the shift. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the Sabbath. In the midst of the collapsing relationships and the financial restructuring and the uncertainty of the future, you will suddenly find yourself in the eye of the hurricane. The winds are howling around you and the waves are crashing, but inside your heart there is a stillness so deep it feels like the bottom of the ocean. You stop worrying. The anxiety that used to wake you up at night vanishes. The desperate need to control the outcome evaporates. You feel a strange and illogical sense of safety. You know that it is done. This peace is not the result of the problem being solved in the physical world. The problem may still be staring you in the face. The bank account may still show zero, but you no longer care in the way you used to. You have moved from the state of wanting to the state of having. This peace is the surest sign that the spiritual pregnancy is complete. When a woman is pregnant, she does not wonder if she is pregnant, she knows. She rests in the knowing. When you reach this state of inner Sabbath, you stop checking for results. You stop digging up the seed. You stop trying to manipulate the outside world. You rest. You go about your day with a quiet smile because you are walking around with a secret. You know that the king has already signed the decree, and it is only a matter of time before the courier arrives with the news. This peace is the vibration of the wish fulfilled. It is the most magnetic frequency in the universe. When you are desperate, you push your good away. When you are peaceful, you draw your good in. The Sabbath is not a day of the week. It is a state of consciousness where the mental work is finished and the emotional battle is won. But I must warn you of the final test. The darkest hour is always just before the dawn. The final attack of the enemy always comes right before the breakthrough. Just when you have found your peace, and just when you are seeing the signs, the old reality will often mount one last terrifying offensive. It is the extinction burst of the old ego. Everything might seem to go wrong at once. A sudden expense arises. A sudden flare-up of pain occurs. A sudden argument threatens to ruin everything. The old man is fighting for his life. The old identity knows it is dying, and it is thrashing about trying to trigger you back into fear. It wants you to react. It wants you to abandon the new state and return to the familiar comfort of your suffering. It wants you to say, see, it didn't work. This is the threshold. This is the moment of initiation. Do not react. Stand your ground. Look at the chaos and see it for what it is. It is the dust kicked up by the renovation. It is the chemicalization of the new order, displacing the old. If you react with fear, you resurrect the old man. If you remain the observer, you starve him. You must stand in the face of the contradiction and deny its authority over you. You must look at the facts and say you are a lie. My imagination is the truth. This final storm is not a sign of failure. It is the breaking of the water before the birth. It is the intensity that precedes the manifestation. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. The pressure you feel is the pressure of the diamond being formed. The heat you feel is the heat of the gold being purified. You will notice that during this time your desires themselves may change. The desperate longing for the object fades. You might think this means you no longer want it, but in truth it means you have merged with it. You no longer long for what you have, you simply enjoy it. The distance between the subject and the object has closed. You and your desire have become one in consciousness. This brings a detachment that is often confusing to the beginner. You might feel a sense of apathy or a lack of urgency. Do not mistake this for loss of interest. It is the satisfaction of possession. You are not hungry because you have eaten. You are spiritually full. This fullness is the precursor to physical manifestation. The world must now bear witness to what you have already become. The synchronicities will begin to accelerate until they become a constant stream. You will feel as though you are in a dialogue with creation. You will see animals that have symbolic meaning crossing your path. You will find feathers or coins in unexpected places. You will dream vivid, lucid dreams where the future is shown to you in high definition. The barrier between the waking state and the dreaming state begins to blur. You realize that life itself is a dream, and you are the dreamer awakening within it. You are realizing that the solid walls of the world are not solid at all. They are malleable. They are fluid. They are responding to the slightest shift in your mood and your assumption. You are taking back the dominion that was yours from the beginning. As the old structure completes its collapse, you will see the foundation of the new rising effortlessly. You will notice that while old doors slam shut, new doors are swinging open without you even knocking. You will meet people who seem to have been placed there by a divine scriptwriter solely to help you. You will find resources appearing exactly when they are needed. The struggle and the striving and the grinding of the gears will be replaced by a smooth and silent flow. This is the state of grace. It is the state of flow. It is the realization that you do not have to force the river, you just have to steer the boat. The currents of the universe are on your side. The wind is at your back. The stars are aligning in your favor. So when the tower falls, do not weep. When the friends leave, do not chase them. When the chaos erupts, do not fear it. Stand in the center of the ruins with your head high and your heart open. Look at the destruction and say thank you. Thank you for clearing the way. Thank you for making space. Thank you for removing the ceiling so I can see the sky. You are the architect of this demolition, and you are the builder of the palace that will rise in its place. The signs are everywhere. The numbers are speaking. The peace is settling. The old is dead. Long live the new. You are witnessing the death of a limitation and the birth of a God. The divine shift is not a subtle adjustment, it is a total resurrection. You are coming out of the tomb. The stone has been rolled away. Step out into the light of your new day. We have traversed the landscape of the invisible shift, and we have decoded the visceral language of your body, and we have stood amidst the collapsing structures of your old life with courage. Now we arrive at the threshold of the new world. We arrive at the moment where philosophy must become practice, and where understanding must become embodiment. It is not enough to simply know that a shift is happening. You must now learn how to walk in it. You must learn how to inhabit this new frequency so fully that you do not slip back into the coma of your past history. The question is no longer when will it happen, but rather who must I be now that it has happened. This brings us to the great secret of the ages, which is the art of living in the end. To live in the end is to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is to mentally and emotionally dwell in the state of resolution, even while your physical senses are still reporting the problem. This is the hardest work you will ever do, but it is the only work that matters. You must understand that the world of Caesar, the world of facts and figures and diagnoses and bank balances, is a world of shadows. It is an echo of yesterday's thoughts. If you wait for the echo to change before you change your voice, you will wait forever. You must speak the new word first, and the echo will follow. To walk in this shift, you must fundamentally alter your relationship with reality. You must stop looking for signs and realize that you are the sign. You must stop waiting for permission and give yourself the authority. The shift you are experiencing is a shift in identity. You are moving from the state of the seeker to the state of the finder. The seeker is always looking, always wanting, always hoping. The energy of seeking implies separation. It says, I am here and my good is over there. As long as you remain a seeker, you will never find, because you are affirming the distance. But the finder has stopped looking because the finder has found. The finder is at rest. You must now adopt the posture of the one who has found. How would you feel if you knew for a fact that your prayer was answered? How would you walk down the street? How would you speak to your friends? How would you sleep at night? You would not be anxious. You would not be checking the phone every 5 minutes. You would be calm. You would be confident. You would be grateful. This is the state you must wear like a garment. You must put on the new man. This requires a radical discipline of the mind. The old man, the version of you that is addicted to struggle, will try to argue with you. It will point to the empty chair or the empty account and say, look, this is real. You must look at those facts and say, no, that is only a shadow. My imagination is the reality. This is what it means to walk by faith and not by sight. Faith is not blind hope. Faith is the loyalty to the unseen reality. When you live in the end, you do not ignore the physical world, but you deny its authority to dictate your mood. If a bill comes that you cannot pay, you do not react with terror. You react with the inner conviction of abundance. You say to the debt, I remember when you were a problem, but now I am the man who has more than enough. You revise the moment instantly. You do not let the outer world leave an impression on your soul. You impress your soul upon the outer world. This is the reversal of the flow. For most of your life, you have been a thermometer reacting to the temperature of the room. Now you must become the thermostat regulating the temperature of the room. The shift demands that you stop thinking of your desire and start thinking from your desire. There is a vast chasm between these two states. To think of your desire is to see it as a picture on a wall. It is distant. It is separate. It is a fantasy. But to think from your dream is to step into the picture. It is to look out at the world through the eyes of the person who has already achieved it. If you want to be married, do not think of marriage. Think from the state of being a husband or a wife. Feel the ring on your finger. Hear the breathing of your partner next to you. Feel the security of the relationship. If you want to be wealthy, do not think of money. Think from the state of financial freedom. Feel the relief of having bills paid. Feel the joy of generosity. This distinction is subtle, but it is the difference between a daydream and a creation. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you who you are. When you think from the end, you are telling the universe, this is who I am. And the universe, which has no choice but to obey the law of your being, will rearrange itself to confirm your assumption. As you practice this, you will find that the urgency fades. This is a paradox that confuses many. They think that if they lose the desperate urgency, they will lose the drive. But desperation is the vibration of lack. Urgency implies that you do not have it, and you are afraid you will never get it. When you truly live in the end, the urgency is replaced by a deep and abiding knowing. You do not run after the bus when you are already on the bus. You sit down and enjoy the ride. The shift brings you to this seat of rest. It is the Sabbath mentioned in the scriptures. The Sabbath is not a day of the week, it is the state of consciousness where the mental work is finished. It is the moment you say it is done. I have planted the seed. I have watered it with faith. Now I trust the harvest. When you reach the Sabbath, the anxiety evaporates. You may still take action in the world, but it is inspired action, not forced action. It is action that comes from a place of joy and certainty, not from a place of fear and striving. This brings us to the ultimate frequency of receivership, which is gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge that collapses time. Most people believe that gratitude is a reaction to something good happening. They wait for the gift and then they say thank you. But in the divine logic of the shift, gratitude is the cause, not the effect. When you give thanks before the evidence appears, you are issuing the most powerful command possible. You are telling your subconscious mind and the universe that the gift is already received. You are acknowledging the reality of the invisible. Start your day with the feeling of thankfulness, not for what you hope will happen, but for what you know has already happened in the spirit. Say thank you for the healing. Say thank you for the prosperity. Say thank you for the love. Feel the relief of it. The feeling of relief is the closest physical sensation to the feeling of fulfillment. When you say thank you and you truly mean it, you release the resistance. You stop fighting the current and you allow the river of life to carry you. Gratitude is the amen to your prayer. It seals the decree. As you walk in this new state, you must be vigilant about your mental diet. You cannot feast on the news of the world and the gossip of the fearful and expect to maintain a high spiritual frequency. You must guard the gates of your mind. Do not entertain conversations that contradict your new truth. Do not indulge in thoughts of failure or victimization. When a negative thought arises, do not fight it. Simply acknowledge it as an echo of the old self and let it pass. Replace it immediately with the thought of the end. If the thought says I am sick, replace it with I am vital and strong. If the thought says I am poor, replace it with I am abundantly provided for. You are the gardener of your mind. You must pull the weeds daily and water the flowers. The shift is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It is a moment-by-moment choice to align with the highest version of yourself. You will find that as you persist in this new assumption, the world will begin to harden around it. The fluid reality of the shift will crystallize into facts. The people you need will appear, the checks will arrive, the body will heal. But you must not worship the manifestation. You must worship the source. The manifestation is just the shadow. The source is your own wonderful human imagination, which is God. Never forget where the power lies. It does not lie in the job or the money or the person. It lies in your ability to imagine and to believe. If you lose everything tomorrow, you can recreate it all again, because you have found the creative power within. This is the true awakening. It is not just about getting things. It is about remembering who you are. You are the operative power. You are the dreamer of the dream. Now, as we come to the close of this journey, let me offer you a final benediction. Let these words sink deep into your spirit and become a foundation for your new life. You are not a victim of the world. You are not a pawn in a game of chance. You are a divine being, clothed in flesh, destined for greatness. The shift that you have felt is the awakening of your true nature. The long night is over. The dawn is breaking within you. Do not go back to sleep. Do not let the lethargy of the past pull you back into the grave of your old limitations. You have heard the call. You have felt the fire. You have seen the signs. Now you must rise. I declare over you that the season of waiting is finished. The season of preparation is complete. You are ready. You are equipped. You are anointed. The doors that have been shut are now open. Walk through them with your head high. Do not hesitate. Do not apologize for your success. Do not shrink back to make others comfortable. Shine your light so brightly that it burns away the shadows of fear in everyone you meet. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. The power that created the stars is the same power that beats in your heart. Trust it. Lean on it. Use it. Go forth from this moment and live as if your prayer is answered. Make your life a living testimony of the law of assumption. Let your very presence be a proof that God is real and that He lives within man. When you look in the mirror, realize that you are looking at the face of the Creator. Treat yourself with reverence. Speak to yourself with love. Imagine the best for yourself and for others. The world is waiting for you to take your place. The universe is holding its breath, waiting for your command. Speak the word. Feel the truth. Walk in the end. And remember that you are never alone. The entire company of heaven is cheering you on. The cloud of witnesses surrounds you. The spirit of wisdom is within you. You cannot fail because the one who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. The shift is done. The reality is established. It is finished. Go in peace, go in power, go in love. And so it is. If you have walked this journey with me to the end, then you are no longer the person who clicked on this video. You have shifted. Do not let this feeling fade. Lock it in. Subscribe to the channel to keep your mind fed with the food of the Spirit. Share this message with a soul you know is currently walking through the wilderness. They need this light just as much as you did. Leave a comment below declaring your new state. Simply write, "I am ready," to stamp your decree upon the universe. The blessing is yours. Until we meet again in the silence, dwell in the end.